Hello, Mark.
Hi.
Can
Hello.
you hear me well?
Can you hear me? Can you see
Yes,
me?
I can see you. I can hear you. How are
All
you?
right. Great. 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 Thank you very much.
I just announced a book giveaway. Maybe
Okay.
you can tell a few words about that book to encourage our
Well, yeah, I'll
audience.
speak about it in a minute because it's part of the presentation.
Aha. Okay. Very
All right.
good.
Shall
So,
I load my presentation, by the way?
yeah, you can start sharing your screen, and
All
this
right.
presentation will be the first in our mindset track. So I'm very excited. Sounds like some brain work, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I wonder whether you see me on my screen. Do you see my screen?
We can see your screen. We can see you. So
Okay, good. So I shall start.
cool.
Thank you very much. So, a much needed paradigm shift indeed. I had a major paradigm shift in 1994 when I founded Jonckers. Um, was called in by a new concept at that time was called the internet. So obviously, in the meantime, 25 years has passed, and I sold my share and started a new business. I'm now an advisor and a consultant for start and scale ups, LSPs, and language technology companies. Change management is my passion, and it's obviously my turf. So I'll share my perspective with you today. It's based on my experience and my perception of the market. Many of the topics tackled today would require a session for their own. So do bear with me if I'm taking shortcuts. So let's start. Kill Your Darlings. I'd like to recommend two books. So Max, you asked me. First one is Eric Ries' The Lean Startup, and the other is a very well famous and very well known and famous Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow. To me, combined, these two books, they form a great mental equation. Cognitive biases and the need to pivot when those biases go wrong. This is really the name of the game. So obviously, changes are generated by crisis, so internal crisis, external crisis, and opportunities as well. So those changes can become pivotal. Change in service offering, changes in infrastructure, in organization, go to market, and so on. Key is that pivoting leads to change in the way organization operate. That is fundamental. That change will induce a kill your darlings attitude. That means, to me, abandoning how you like to do things and how you like things to be done. Innovation. Having new perspectives about your business and your market, it's a process. It's definitely not a one-off. It's not a one-time event. And at the core of that change lies the new value proposition. You need to have matured until you have material evidence that your customer traction is optimal, and not until you believe that you're doing things better. What you think doesn't matter. In the end of the day, what matters is what's your customers' experience with your service offering or your product. So when you carry out a momentum of innovation, it's transformative. It impacts your business model, and your business model has a big impact on the way you generate profit. So usually it means bringing fresh blood in your organization and understanding that it is important to challenge your own ideas and have them challenged by people who might think differently. So technology, now that's a buzzword, but in our industry, I mean, definitely we're all tech driven. Um, but digital transformation, which is a big word for, I would say, organizations that are relying on heavy industry processes. It's important for them, but for us, it's like a second nature. We've always been driven by technology. Now, one important question is whether we should develop our organization or create our organization as tech-based, like software development organization, for instance, or like tech-enabled, interacting with our ecosystem using a digital platform, and whether that digital platform should be developed in-house or just white labeled because it's available off the shelf. Now, in either cases, there are winners and losers, and like in any industry. And what I see is that some organization of both natures, so either tech driven or tech enabled, and they're changing their business model on their way, and they're pivoting into the other nature. There are several examples on the market. And this strategic move is, yeah, well, it implies to undertake radical changes, and one has to be really aware of that. I mean, it's a change in skill map, monetization schemes, investments, management, HR, and so on and so forth. But the good news is that there are great examples of successes in our industry. Quest for data. Now, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning. I mean, all this is now, these are words that are generating a lot of money for their own because everybody is using them. In the end of the day, my view is very pragmatical. I mean, we know that machine translation is not translation. It's statistics and it's probabilities relying on large amounts of data sets. So humans are used to increase the between bracket quality. That means how relevant those data sets are for translation or for communication. My point is those same data sets can be used for other purposes, optimizing them for different market needs and leveraging on existing delivery processes, looking at existing market players, how they do in this industry and in other industries, what they're doing with data sets. Probably our data sets are of extremely high quality because they're very well structured, they are annotated, they're tagged. So this is all added value, and there's a lot to evaluate, making the strategic move and creating new monetization schemes. But what I think is that they're relevant examples of successes. You just need to ask Lionbridge's shareholders what they think about data sets and how they can be leveraged from one vertical to another. Now for, I would say, more mundane or pragmatical aspects of how to compete well or better. Cost cutting. Technology reduces the number of labor-intensive tasks. I mean, primarily it is deployed to reduce operating costs. I mean, one understands that very well. So to sustain market pressure, we all know there are a lot of different market pressures. It needs to be integrated into a holistic approach to business effectiveness. And that effectiveness must be monitored and must be measured against relevant KPIs. And so the focus is to run the business according to lean management practices. It is quite well described in Eric Ries's book, really, and I invite you to go through that as well. Using an analogy with a weight loss program, I mean, obviously, if you want to lose weight and you reduce your weight by 30 pounds in 6 weeks, obviously, it's going to have some impact on your body and probably negative impact. And that's hardcore cost cutting when you react as opposed to anticipate. What you can also do is eat healthy every day and practice, work out 3 times a week, no addiction, and you're going to be vital and energetic and be most probably very much more resilient than the other person. So practically, and I know it's going to generate some questions, some eye frowns, but I think one key thing is to lower project management and engineering costs to the strict minimum or zero it. So we can speak about that at some point if you want, or in another session into the future. But obviously, technology's side effect is the impact on labor-intensive tasks. Another thing, when you're facing changes in your strategy, or you really want to, I would say, reinvent yourself, is that whilst this process is important, is far too often market players are relying on 2 or 3 or 4 key customers, and even sometimes only one. And although it may sound very cliche, new business acquisition is vital, and especially when you're pivoting. It should be a religion, really, to make sure that you constantly bring in new customers. You want to maintain existing customers, that's for sure, that's true. But if you only use that tactic to grow your top line, I mean, it's an impediment to your strategic move. You don't have any options to test out new products with new people, with different people, with different persona, with different market segments, and you're going circle. And I've seen that. And I've seen that in organizations that are very mature. So moving forward is the word investment. I mean, to maintain or create a competitive advantage, you must invest. Research and investment budgets, they are not just for large organizations. On the contrary, smaller LSPs and they use creative ways to prototype their new value proposition and test them out. I mean, it requires financial means and human capital. Partnerships with academic institutions, national and international subsidies, private equity placements, and there are a lot of ways to put together investment plans. A good governance advice that I would put on the table is allocate a double-digit percentage of your profits on investments. That's also a very wise thing to do. You're creating a virtuous circle and you're nurturing your own competitive advantage. Last but not least, there. Translation has shifted from art to science. Fluent is replaced by predictable. High-end is replaced by commodity. All core activities are impacted and there is no way back. We may strive for the best quality, which I respect very much. But it is clear that there has been a shift and this shift will continue. Focus and usability is the word that comes to mind here. So it's a great opportunity to think and make changes. It's a great opportunity for entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs to leverage on their, what I think humbly is the best quality of those people. It's that they can take risks. They dare. So what I invite you to do is to dare and pivot whenever you believe it's time to do things differently. That's it. Thank you.
Wow. I think that it's time to move to the questions. It was a short but very deep thought presentation. Thank you very much, Mark.
Pleasure.
So let me start with the question from Matthias Caesar. NMT is not statistics and probabilities. Did you not find a great shift in how NMT is now available, integrated and used in TMS, especially in agile software development? We're just getting started, I believe.
First, it's nice to see you, Matthias. It's been a long time. To me, it's still, I wouldn't agree conceptually. I mean, the notion, I did not say NMT, I said empty. And I said empty as a concept. Obviously, it's based on an algorithm. And to me, the process of the translation process is not the same as the one used by human person and human and using its cognitive capabilities and the best possible output or throughput of an algorithm. So the different that it's just the beginning, yeah, probably, but that's also in line with what I said. I just said that there's no way back, and now technology and different ways of different business model, this different value proposition. This is the future for LSPs in any event. That's my take. So that could be a topic to be discussed further on, but I'll stay on my vision there.
Mark, kindly ask you to stop sharing the screen so that our attendees just see on the screen.
Do I? Okay.
Yeah, just stop sharing.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That is nice. Thank you very much. Then moving to the next question. And just to remind the attendees, Mark will be giving away a book to someone the question he will like, right? I don't know what are the parameters for choosing the best question, Mark. Maybe you can tell something.
I go through them because it's out of respect. I very much appreciate those people who are asking
Yeah.
questions or are putting their remarks in front of my eyes. I mean, I'm very thankful for that. What strategies can LSPs employ in order to thrive among low-priced competition? Well, obviously, this is, you know, we all know that. Well, we all know. Uh, Porter has identified, you know, leadership by cost or differentiation. In any event, you could decide that you want to go for the bloodbath and really play that low-priced competition and be the cheapest. You may decide that you want to go and provide premium services, but it's a choice, strategic choice. I mean, if we this book, this blue ocean strategy, although it's a bit complex, I think we could be simplified a little bit. My humble take. There are many ways, but I would really recommend to not to go for me too strategies and doing what exactly other people are doing. That's the best way, just to be, you know, drown in the mid competition. So that's my take. I'm not sure it's the best answer, but that's the one I have in mind for now.
Try to
So,
be unique.
okay, so Shelley, how can an LSP using all these streamlining, cost-cutting measures ensure that they're trans human being capital who actually communicates their clients and feel valued? Yeah. I think value will be produced differently than in the past. That's what I think in the first place. That we show respect to what these people are doing, yes, for sure. But how they will still be relevant in the future will be dependent on the value that they can bring along to the automated process that exists upstream. It's a change. I myself am a translator. I mean, I'm a linguist. I've seen over time how this core activity has changed, and I just invite people to align and adapt and create new value, new business value. That's something very important. I mean, that's what I want. So, which region
Nikita,
do? Yeah, yeah.
the
I'm,
question from
I'm, I'm,
Nikita.
I'm trying to answer to all of them, but they're piling up. So I won't be able to answer all of them, and I don't want to take up too much
We
time.
have time, Mark. We have time. We have 10 minutes.
All
So
right,
enjoy,
all right, all
enjoy
right, all right.
answering.
Okay, let me process it then the way I can. So, which region do you think are the best to offshoring right now? Well, I'm a bit harsh because I say no shoring at all. I just say I think you should keep. That's my humble take. You should keep a core team very close to you. It's we know we're in a period of social distancing, but it's very important, especially for a startup or a scale up that's going through a change. That this change be also evaluated not only from a KPI perspective, but also from a human relationship perspective. So I would go for proximity in the first place. You can also look for outsourcing. I mean, you have to identify those core activities you want to keep knowledge about, and the rest is a choice. But yeah. So Matthias, is the best quality of the service delivered that satisfies the customer need 100%? That just
The second try to get a book from Matthias.
Oh, he's a very smart guy. I mean, we've been doing business together for I don't know a decade. So he's challenging me. I know, but he's a very smart person. So to me, well, linguistic quality. I heard many things, and maybe I'm going to shock many people, but for me, it's reusability. 99% of the content that is translated on the market is as a life cycle of probably a week or two. So we have to be careful about that and segment the content that requires a specific linguistic, I would say, cosmetic approach, and the other one that's just it's good for what it takes, and that's it, because there is no economic logic behind that. It doesn't work. You cannot spend money, and no organization or institution will spend money over time on a content that has no future and it's for itself, between brackets. With regard, yeah, sorry. With regards to, I'm losing a little bit track, but I'm getting there. I mean, you mentioned Arcadio. You mentioned reducing, eliminating PM and engineering makes perfect sense. Aside from automating content normalization, what do you see of achieving this? Well, project management, well, I mean, we know it's about file management. Let's be honest. Let's be very very candid. I mean, engineering. I mean, I've had the opportunity to work with mechanical engineers in a startup project that is doing something that has nothing to do with service delivery. These guys, they're conceiving, they're designing very sophisticated processes or machinery. We are looking at file format, we are looking at translatable strings, we are looking at embedded graphics, UI, and that's it. I mean, I would recommend first to disregard a little bit the terminology we're using and looking at what people are doing. Uh, to me, technology can take over a lot of what is been done in the past in project management and engineering.
Mark, I'm just marking the questions that we answered. So we've missed two of them from Iran. If you see, how do you balance cost cutting with
Yes.
maintaining quality?
Oh yeah, on balance
It's just
content
on
with
top.
maintain. Yeah, well, that is a good question. It's simple, few words, not like me. And I think my humble take on this is it depends on what you want to achieve. You have to have you're always working with the end in mind. What do you want to build? What do you want to achieve? Quality you have to define, and you have to make it an objectifiable criteria. Not just it's good or I like or it's correct. You need the measurements for that, and then of course you may need to decide also what kind of gross margin you want to make on it, and then you can identify how much cost you can allocate. And when you have how much cost you can allocate, then you define whether it's possible to do it using automation or a mix between automation and human in the loop.
Good. Then there is a question from Smartcat community from Jörg Birsak.
Mhm.
How will machine translation affect the profession of translators or LSPs?
Okay, I'm going to be extremely candid here, very candid, and it's not something that I say because I like it. I hate this idea, but today we're talking about natural language processing, right? Now, some organizations have started working on non-template based natural language generation. If you guys, most of you are aware that if you can automatically generate text, you don't need translation anymore, do you? So the point is, at some point in time, hardware, because it's hardware that is making it difficult, not software, will enable to process a certain amount of content or concept or designs, descriptions that will be automatically generated. And so that part of the, I would say, the data or the content to be translated will just vanish into thin air. So that's a part of it. And the other, it really depends. I mean, I obviously don't know what's going to happen in the future for everyone, but
Who
anyway.
knows? Yeah. So, and the question from Anna-Marie Roots,
Mhm.
reducing PM effort to zero, that seems impossible. I would love to hear more details about this.
Okay, that's a good one. And to me, that there is a prerequisite for that. And again, that's based on how LSPs position themselves on the market. Do you want to customize all your processes or do you want to standardize your process? Do you want to become an organization or a person that is selling between practice standard services or customized services? If it's standard, I tell you, it is possible, totally possible. It's just a matter of standardization. That's it. That we don't want to standardize our processes because we want to offer a different or a specific customer experience. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Then no.
The question from Habib Dumit, what advice would you give to newly translators or so on regarding your domain?
I would I would I would I would tell them expand your skill set. go and become a subject matter expert. And that will help a lot into providing you more work, because expertise, know-how, that's something different than just sheer economics. I hope my answer is clear.
hopefully. And there is a question from the agency, I guess, AB Traduceri. Have you started using or implementing GPT-3 or Google trained 6 trillion parameter AI language model?
Well, we are talking here about data sets and algorithms that are available. You can implement them, you can use them. I think what is important in I would say the second bounds of the ball in your question is, do you want to build your own models, or you want to build your own MT environment or NMT environment? I would say definitely not. I would not recommend anybody to build its own NMT engine, because they're available on the market. And as you point out here, if you want to take advantage of existing content or data sets, well, they're there for free. You can use it. But are they clean? How good are they in terms of usability, and are they anonymized, and are they applicable? Again, are they applicable for the verticals you are targeting? To me, you can have a Ferrari. I have no problem. I love Ferraris. I love Porsche. I love whatever. But if I go to the grocery store, I need a car that can bring my grocery back home without spilling all the milk on the back of the seat. So it's just, again, what you used to do what.
Okay. And the question from Nayat or Najat, do you use MT in the Arabic market as much as you do in other markets? If yes, is it as effective as in other languages?
Uh, I don't. Okay, it's a good point, Najat. I don't have data to provide you evidence about that. What I can tell you that is that personally, and again, I'm not an expert. I know my deal, but I'm not an expert. But I don't see any reasons why MT would be less efficient in one language or another. It's a matter of data sets. It's the matter of how much data is available. Quality data means relevant and well-structured data. But over time, it's a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. We are generating content every day. So that's it.
Mark, thank you very much for the great presentation. We still have questions, and attend is challenging you, so you will have to choose one a bit later, I guess, to look at all of these questions and choose the one who you will share the book. And yeah, thank you very much. It was a great one.
Thank you. My pleasure. It was a privilege to be there, and I thank all for the great questions. I'll pick up those who want the book, of course, because I know some either have read it or just simply don't want to get it, as I see.
Cool. I've sent you the LinkedIn invite, so I hope you
All
will
right.
take a second
Thank you
to
very
approve
much,
it.
Max. Take good care.
You too. Enjoy your day.
Cheers.